Okay, so on this video here, I'm going to talk about email signups as it pertains to PPC campaigns. Again, I just put out a video about PPC and email. This is specifically about how to get $3 email signups using PPC specifically, and those $3 leads that ultimately turn into a 10x ROI down the line when you have, and how to productively use those leads actually as well to your advantage to profit from them. And specifically how to use those leads on the Google Display Network to get this $3 sign up. I'm going to talk about Google search campaigns as well and collecting leads that way in actuality, but just referencing the $3 number, we're talking about the Google Display Network. Even though search campaigns pretty much just as effective for collecting emails, which I'm going to explain here in a minute. So anyway, this is a particular technique that I picked up just recently, trying out some new things. So it is a fairly outside the box strategy. It's not your typical, set up an ebook and then set up a landing page and then to get the, and then I'm going to tell you then to use MailChimp to market to your email list after that. This is going to be quite a bit more outside the box than that. Not super sophisticated, but outside the box. Stuff that you don't hear people talking about a lot specifically, which is why I made it. So anyway, as usual on my videos, I have a short list of things that I want to cover here. The do's and the don'ts on how to do email for, collecting email addresses using PPC ads, and stuff that you need to know in order to be productive with it. How well at the end you can see how much this actually does for what you're doing. And can actually improve your operation of what you have in total if you use the methods I'm going to give you and layered on top of any PPC you're doing actually right now as well. Audited from a few campaigns that I've ran in the past, now that I know, basically that this works. Anyway, the first thing on my list here of the few things I want to cover is, so what is the strategy about and where are you actually using it at? So as mentioned, I'm using this particular, what I call it, PPC, email collection strategy using paid ads. Mostly I'm going to talk about search campaigns here to begin with, but specifically, what you want to go one step backwards here before we get to that, I want to say, so basically, if you're at a position, so if you're not, running ads for your business, search ads on Google, you should. Some markets it's just too competitive and display is the only thing that will work for you. I've been there before. That isn't the case usually 95% of the time, just to let you know from what I've seen. But let's say you set up your search campaigns and they're profitable, but like everybody, they usually hit a bottleneck and they can't really do much more with it unless they spend more money on the clicks. And so this is just an easy way to break out of the mold and be able to get more money from what you're doing in order to multiply what you're making from the ads itself that you're starting out with. So when your search campaigns have gotten, kind of as much out of them or as much as you're capable to get out of them by default, or with your capability of what you know about, you're going to make the search, what I call buyer keywords, go further. And mostly also though, make your search ad campaign go further if you're of course not using it right now, with keywords that I simply label info terms. So what I mean by this, taking a step back, I always have three groupings that I put my keywords in when I'm going to build Google search campaigns. Buyer terms, so people are looking for, let's say if it's a service, a consultant or a company, it's a shipping company. So it's a shipping service company, consultant, firm, where they actually have buyer's intent. If you're going to hire a plumbing company, it's going to be plumbers near me, plumbers company, plumber services, that kind of stuff. So those would be buyer terms. Competitor terms are just your competitor's brand name, product name, trademark name, and you're going to try, and that's for capitalizing on people already going to your competitors. And then there's this info group, which is, basically, so technically there's another category I'll call everything else. If a category is really, really profitable, we'll get into that. But for the most part, we'll stick with this info term category, which what those are is like somebody searching for like how to, cost of terms, the cost of liposuction, how to get liposuction versus liposuction clinics in Miami, that kind of stuff, which would be your buyer terms. And so what you're going to do is I drew up a little diagram here to explain how the email is going to work into this. So generally speaking, though, with the buyer terms, those always work, right? 95% of the time you can get that going for your business. Now, it'll be maybe 10% of the time by default you can make these, info terms work for you as well, because as you know, people are going to suck up your budget, or if you don't know, people are going to suck up your budget that are just looking around, if you will. And if you only have a page that's good at converting the buyer traffic, which a certain kind of page is going to be good there, and if you try to use that page for something else that has less qualified traffic, then both are just going to be mediocre. So you make somebody that just wants to buy as quickly as possible, you have a page for them, but you have a different approach for these info terms a lot of the time, or in general, you could come out with a different approach for both. But, the user that's looking for that's typing in an informational query, what I'm going to do then is, so when somebody, so we're going to bid on liposuction clinic, and we're going to, with that page though, an easy way to kind of deal with this is another way to go about it, is we're going to have another piece of content on that particular landing page. So if that user doesn't want to buy right away, and it's going to be information that you have to do research on as to what's that irresistible piece of a supplementary content that you could offer that person that's looking for liposuction services, that they may be typing in liposuction clinics in Denver already and they get to my page. You'd be surprised how many people would download that content and how much more overall action and conversions and revenue you'll make if you have a secondary option if they're not quite ready at that moment to fill out the form to talk to a salesperson or set an appointment. Or if you have a product, of course, this can work the same way. So people click on the ad, they're looking for what are the best cordless drills. They get to your page with the cordless drills on it, but now you're going to have a piece of content on there that you're going to be offering along with the ability to buy that product. That I have a short list of ideas about type of content that normally works good. Buyer's guides, everything you need to know about buying a home cordless drill, commercial drill, technical options that you could get with your drill that's going to the specialized bits that you go with it, what purposes, what you typically, what are all the possibilities of what you can get with this product, not just this product, but just in general when buying a bit as well, how those all work, all in one place in a packaged up guide, applications guides, how you're going to be able to use that drill in certain situations with the accessories that are available to teach you about that, and showing examples of the product or service being used, case studies, that type of thing. But you offer it on the page, and there's a way that you're going to be able to offer it on the page that you're going to, in terms of making a strategy work. So you have this. So the information itself, whether it doesn't matter again if you offer a product or a service, it's all the same way. You're offering your core offer, and you're sending people who both are looking to buy to this page, at least for the way that I'm describing it on this video, and also the people looking for how to, what is the cost of, how to buy, whatever they're looking to, that you sell, looking for advice like a buyer's, information, buyer's guide, that kind of thing. You have somewhere on the page, preferably probably not on the very top, but lower on the page, you have that, just fill out this information, we'll give you this guide. And it's middle of the page or whatever, towards the middle, towards the bottom. So which can be on the landing page itself, which is what I got listed here. But you could also get a little bit more if you offer a pop-up. So, everything that you need to know about liposuction guide for that on the page itself. And then there's a pop-up once they've been on the page for, I don't know, 5 seconds already. You can have that as well, which is another way to get your opt-in. But my personal favorite is actually doing both. You're going to have the pop-up and you're going to have it on the page. And they, of course, can contact somebody to set an appointment right then and there. Or, you know, and we're going to get more. We're going to start to get emails from the people who already got going to the page already for our quote-unquote buyer terms. But we're going to start to run ads for these info terms that are related to people looking more so for information. We're going to get some people ultimately, even though they weren't looking at the time to book an appointment right away, some will, not very many will, but a good chunk more of the people as well are now going to get your information. So they now see what you do, and this is written by somebody who's already in the business, which adds its own kind of appeal or effect to the information itself. I find it's more, it's not logical. A lot of people don't think this way, but it's very profitable for us to do that instead of just sending them to a page with an ebook, because it's like, who the hell wrote this ebook or whatever. Even if you have your logo up top, I want to show them that we're an expert and we offer this is all we do, and we're offering a buyer's guide for people who want to look for this type of thing. For the info terms, as a side note, this approach of sending people to a page where you can both buy and download the information for people looking for information on the topic that you have, not necessarily looking to buy from somebody and using certain buyer or purchase intent in what they're searching for. The info terms itself generally won't be profitable unless you're in a niche with $1 or less cost per click. So there is a caveat all to this. If you're going to use this, an email strategy here to improve your search campaign. So display is a little different. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But, let's say if you're in liposuction and the keywords related to, how to, should I get liposuction? You're going to bid on that keyword. That keyword's, 50 cents. That's a good buy most of the time. When, liposuction clinics in Denver would be $5, you're going to send that person to the page and you're going to hope, of course, 10% of the people ultimately will get your, fill out their email, and then you got them at that point right where you want them, because now you can use your very high-powered, very structured, very, very dialed-in approach to turn that person the rest of the way qualified for you on the back end, using your, QuickMail, using your MailChimp or whatever. So with that said, so they get to the page, it's a normal offer, but now you have your information on it. A lot of people will just go for the information, whether they were looking to just buy anyway, or if they were looking for information, they just go to it. And now they see that it's written or produced by somebody who actually sells what you have, which will also come in handy later on when you email them. They also know that then as well. So once that's done, you got their email address. Like is typical with email marketers and what they're doing, you have a personalized time sequence from the time that you get the email address. And on my last video about email marketing as it has to do with PPC, you're going to send, this is the formula that I know works the best in general. Right away, you're going to get an email saying, hi, I'm John Smith from XYZ liposuction clinic in Denver. Thank you for contacting my clinic. I'm going to stay in touch with you, let you know the ins and outs about this space. Hope you like the information that we, of course, sent you already, and stay in touch with you. It sounds like you're talking to them directly. That's very, very important. And what you're doing is building up a virtual relationship with that person that's automated. And then the next day you send them another email saying, what will you get if you contact my clinic? And then we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. So it gives them an insight as to, maybe I do want to contact them. Then the next day you send them an email and it's, normally people sometimes they don't get success with liposuction. Why should I not worry about that? Or should I worry? And then you explain, I've seen this and seen that. And if you do this, and you're educating and entertaining the buyer at the same time and actually developing a relationship with that buyer. And every third email, you're going to send an email in that sequence that's offering them a short, quote-unquote, short-time discount or offer that they're going to get if they take advantage of it right then and there. So they get to The third email, everything is, by the way, contingent on that being written very, very well by a trained copywriter or yourself, and then ran through a copywriter, because if somebody reads the first email and they're not really entertained by it, the next email they won't read and you wasted your time. Plus, they'll click spam a lot of the time. So other emails to new people, it'll just go to spam. So it's very important that you don't cut corners on this in terms of the quality of the writing. But on the fourth email, instead of sending and I'll send 7 emails a day apart, and it'll be second email of 7 that I'm as a part of my educational series, the ongoing educational series to you. Your fourth email is, hey, we're actually our client, and it doesn't seem like you're offering it to just them, but it seems like an email that everybody gets. This month only, we're offering 10% off of our liposuction treatments. Or we're going to offer, liposuction, and you get this if you do it this month. But it's only good for this month. And then they get a fourth email, fifth, sixth, and then they see another offer that seems like it's only happening. You don't do stuff like this all the time, but this month, because you inquired this month, it just so happens that I contacted them. I'm basically getting this from you at a time where you're doing something totally different than most other times, and therefore there's urgency and scarcity built into the minds of the user then, and then you've built up enough momentum with the relationship building and the other emails, and they just jump on it. So that's how you monetize the email at a very, very high rate. So in general, that's how to take a search campaign and make it better. Of course, you can make more from a buyer keyword campaign by capturing a few of the people that will bounce without doing anything that you normally could get their email, and then run this and improve that. You can get an even bigger increase in your revenue and potential with PPC if you start to bid on info terms and use this whole secondary email offer on the sales page that you would normally have to be able to have another way to you can monetize all that other search traffic and do it in the way that I just described. It usually works pretty well, of course, if you got $1 or less cost per click in your market. Once you've done all that, you can go on to do, once you've done search, you can do display campaigns, which is what I mentioned up here it was about. Now, how to set up your display campaigns to get $3 email signups. That's pretty simple as far as the overview of what to do with that. So you'll create a custom audience with all the search keywords from your campaign that worked up here that were profitable. So you get search profitable. Once you know what keywords they are, you create a custom audience with those keywords. I would create one custom audience with the buyer terms, one custom audience with the info terms. So when you run the display campaign and you have conversion data coming in that tells you whether or not you paid $3 or $30 for an email, that you can adjust your bids for the buyer audience that you've set up and now the info audience that you set up. And so, but you basically, you'll just, if you're local, you'll geofence it. And then basically if somebody searched for either the buyer term that you had that is profitable in the last 30 days or the info term in the last 30 days, your banner ad can now show up for that person. And that banner ad is basically not going to just offer the information, but it's going to offer the service again, just like you would do on search, but you're assuming that once they click on it, you know they're in the market, they're qualified, they're just going to click on it because they're interested. Oh, I didn't hear about this other clinic, or I didn't see this other product. They get there, then now they see that information, both either on the pop-up or on the site itself. They get you get their email, and then you got them, because all the rest of it you spent so much time and effort to perfect, and it does take a lot of perfection get it to be able to work, to get a 10x ROI. But if you do it with somebody who's trained in copywriting the way that I described to you and use that overall formula, it will work the way, to get you a 10x ROI. The other audience that you target with on the Google Display Network here that has the capability to get a $3 sign up / 10x ROI, or in other words, generate $30 in revenue from a $3 email, is to target a custom audience that's derived to your direct competitor. So if you're a commercial roofer, collect an email address of all the specialized commercial roofers in your area, put that into, again, as a custom audience, list all their domain names and their trade names, geofence the campaign, and again, get that person that's already in market to just check out what you have in case They're like, I haven't seen this guy yet, so therefore I'm going to check this, this company out. And then, oh, what do you know? Everything I need to know about commercial roofing in 5 minutes. I download the content. They like the content. Content has to be good, written by a copywriter again. Otherwise, if you send them an email, they're just going to ignore it. So you have to. So it's like you're courting a girl or whatever. Whatever you're doing first is just to get a little bit to know her a little bit more and a little bit more, and then it's momentum. And pretty soon the snowball's rolling down the hill, and it's so big and it's so fast. You got her, basically. So the content sets up the first email. The headline on the first email sets up the subheadline. They read that next. They're not intending to even read any of the email. Well, now that subheadline was interesting. Maybe I'll read the first line. And then, the first line was okay. I'll read the second line. And they do that. And then when they get the second email, they think back to the first email. Maybe that email was okay. Maybe I'll just read the headline. And then the same process goes through again. So anyway, that is kind of what you need to do to be able to monetize emails, but this could be added to any PPC search strategy you have today. And for the most part, if you're in a market where you have, and there's always usually some info terms in most niches that will be under $1. I want to say there's only maybe 10-20% that you can't find some info terms under $1. You can use this formula to get the search campaign to be more productive overall, a lot more keywords that you can bid on. Once you get that set up, you can then take your keywords, whatever you ultimately could make work there, run display ads at the same people who basically searched the same things recently, and then people who've been to your competitor sites recently, and take advantage of all that. Now, as far as the results go, so basically I've done pretty much just like I described here for a couple different companies, a personal health protection product. So we were talking about kind of like what you would think a gun or something like that. And obviously you can't sell guns itself on Google search. That's not what I'm talking about here. I can't say the actual product because I'm going to give away my client's information there. But basically, we were driving people to a page that sells that. Again, like I was saying here, ultimately there was a ultimate, buyer's guide, and I'm not going to say the exact, topic title there. Otherwise, I'd give it away. But we got their email. We did just what I described there. We ran just a little bit of display, mostly new search ads. We got a 3x increase in the amount of productivity of revenue and profit that this campaign, the PPC on Google Ads as a whole, was actually producing for this client. The other one was it's a optional installable accessory for home. So we're talking about, like let's say you had a optional, an extension that can be put on your home to deal with certain, pre-existing issues. Let's just put it that way, or for efficiency reasons, and so on and so forth. Can't again say the exact item since it is a unique branded item. I can't give you the exact thing there, but with that, just giving you a general idea that this works for different markets. It doesn't matter if you're selling a personal protection item. Product. It doesn't matter if you're selling a item that's for home use. I've done not the liposuction example. I didn't actually do that one, but I would be willing to bet my life that will work for that. For that particular market and markets like it. In the commercial roofing space, I did a little bit, but not to the extent that I described to you here. But I would use it here. And like I said, I just recently found out about doing this as a whole a couple of years ago, basically. And so I'm starting to do more of it, and I'm sharing with you at least the success we had with it, and I'm going to start using it more. You could start using it more for yourself. And, but with that, the home accessory, we got a 2x increase in the amount of profitability that Google Ads was doing for that client without having email and an autoresponder sequence as a part of the overall strategy, and we're just selling the product as is up front. Now we're adding content marketing as a part of the landing pages that we're using to sell the product, and drawing people in that were more with an informational nature behind them of what they're looking for, and then converted them over to the buying side. Took the buyers, got some of those people that weren't quite tipped over the edge yet, and then got those people to convert, which is going to contribute to that 2x increase. As the last thing I should have mentioned here on international campaigns, if any of this works in the U.S., and most of my viewers and clients are U.S. Based companies, but if anything works domestically, it'll work fantastic internationally, because nobody does any kind of this like super high power copywriting, content marketing, at least the way that I described it here, what's on a product page and you got a really good sequence behind it, running display campaigns the way that I said with a really structured setup. Usually international campaigns are 2 to 3 times more profitable than the same exact campaigns that they would be in the US, due to the less competition and the fact that they're not going to really see anything like this. A really, really good buyer's guide, nobody's really doing that, and so when they see it, they're more apt to take advantage of it, on top of the actual traffic being 2 to 3x difference in price just in general there. And so not everybody will get a $3 sign up on their Google display campaigns, because different markets have different actual, let's just say, prices in terms of you getting the user's attention in that market, given how unique your product, so on and so forth is. You can get under $3 on the international side a lot. Again, because the traffic's cheaper, and then also because the content has a novelty factor to it. I've gotten emails for 50 cents in other countries, just taking the same exact structured here and moving it over to the international side. So I would recommend just automatically doing that. And with that, I will admit the emails don't convert at the same rate, because it is more of a novelty thing. But because you're getting the emails for like $1 or 50 cents, it's hard not to make money on that. And so it's all about, it's still at the end of the day, after all of this, you're going to need to measure how many people get through your sequence that you get an email by. You can do that through Google Analytics. And then you can do that by traffic source. You can take domestic traffic and international, see your close rates on the emails that you're getting using your sequence, and then assign a unique bid to international traffic that reflects what that international traffic is worth compared to your domestic campaigns. You absolutely need to do this, because internationals work so much different than domestic. You have to do that. But neither one of these companies, by the way, I did the international stuff. That was a different instance, but I wanted to bring that up. So, but that gives you a general idea of a general kind of feel of how much this can push your Google Ads by not having this and just having a straight up offer, to using an email collection offer along with your straight up offer to push everything forward in a big way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a lot of other videos just like this on this channel that goes over other types of PPC strategies that I use to, ultimately in our firm to guarantee our clients results. We have step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns the way that I build them here for clients to guarantee their results at guaranteeppc.com/blog. If you prefer to view information about learning PPC strategy in that kind of format instead. If you have any questions about what I talked about here, about taking and transforming a landing page, product, or service to have an additional secondary offer on it and a pop-up on the page itself to be able to push an email marketing sequence or system behind your typical just straight up offer on your page. To help you do that, leave a comment down below. I will get back to you. I always get back to everybody who leaves me a comment. So if they have questions specifically. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you were also inspired to add a secondary offer to your landing page. It can't hurt, mostly only can help. So